It's my favorite segment on the Bert Show when I'm not in the hot seat. So it is my favorite segment this week because Mo is in the hot seat for Plead the Fifth. 5 really uncomfortable questions designed to make him cringe. He could take one of them and go, you know what, I'm just going to plead the fifth on that one. If he's a yeller.
Never have, never will.
And Mo, I thought of one coming in. And I'm not afraid to say it's from me. I just want to know this. You've talked about recently gambling, or you had a chance to win $5,000 on the Super Bowl.
Wah, wah.
So,
see how he's got to bring that up? Starting the day off with that little.
Come on, Tommy, it's Friday.
Starting it with Friday morning like
this
this.
is going to be a multi-question. The sentence continues, so you got to answer all this stuff.
It counts as 3 questions.
Nope.
Let's plead the fifth, not plead the fifth or 8.
Nope. It's comma, and. That's what we're going to call plead the fifth today. Comma, and. All right. So, when you've gambled, what is the most you've ever won, and what is the most you've ever lost, and the quick stories behind each?
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay, comma, and.
Right? The most I ever won, I really don't know. Probably 10,000.
Whoa. What was that? What was that bet on?
Football.
Yeah.
I hit a parlay once that I think I hit for about $9,000.
What team? Or like was there a certain person that played?
Nah,
Not the Cowboys.
you can bet on the Cowboys losing, Abby.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It was the year when I used to do teams. I would pick like 5 different teams, and you got to choose which 5 you think will win. And one time I hit for like 2 weeks in a row. You could do it for however many weeks you want, and I hit for like 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
And I think I hit for
and your loss, biggest?
I don't lose. See, when I lose, people think I lost $5,000, but in reality, I lost $50 because it was a $50 buy-in.
Yeah.
So I really don't bet that much to lose that much.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So I really haven't lost probably more than maybe $250.
Yeah, if you missed that part of the show, Mo is part of a pool that he put $50 in the very first week of the NFL. Came down to the very last week, and it was between him and one other person for $5,000. Dude calls Mo up and says, you know what? You take $2,500, I'll take $2,500, and we all go away happy. And Mo said, no, I'm going to go for the full $5,000.
Grandma told me go big or go home.
And
I went home.
You went home.
I went home.
With 0.
Yeah, I did.
I wanted to come in that Monday morning because I made a bet on one of those betting sites that night, and I would have won $10,000.
Oh,
Shut up.
And it was looking good there for a while, but then the third quarter, it was over.
Yeah.
It's normally how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. If your grandmother changed her opinion about your girlfriend right now, would you reconsider dating your current girl?
Ooh, so something happens between you and your girl. You tell your grandmother about it, and she's like, oh, I thought that was a good woman. She is rotten.
Nah, I wouldn't change my opinion. At this point in my life, my grandmother's opinion means a lot to me, but my opinion means a little bit more.
Yeah, and she's also responsible for you losing that cash in the Super Bowl. We can tie these two together.
You probably should ask this question in about a year. I'm still upset about that.
Your grandma's on line 5, and the comment beside her name says, what? All right. Has anyone said something on air that bothered you or offended you?
I think that question can be tweaked to when's the last time?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What's the
What
last
was it?
one?
The last time, it's not. I don't take them home and write them down. I don't really remember.
Sometimes you can't remember what the person says, but you remember how they made you feel.
No, sincerely, it's exactly that. I don't think anyone has ever like bothered or offended is a lot for me. It takes a lot for me to be offended. I don't think I've ever walked away and like took it personal. But there's been times when just being black in a room of the only black guy in the room, things are said all the time.
I was about to say, was your response something like, white people?
In my head.
It's probably not so much. I'm not trying to fill your mouth with words, but it's probably not so much offended as it is they just don't know.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever done it purposely. Maybe. I don't know. But it's things that's like, ooh, yeah, that I felt that one as a black person.
All right. I think we're on question number 3. Which member of the Bert Show?
Wait, what? 3?
Yeah, it feels like it's 12. It does.
I told you, comma, and to get you. Which member of the Bert Show would you least want to change lives with?
Oh, that's so easy.
Oh, Cassie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cass. Cass going through a few things right now. I'm sorry.
You can eliminate that question from this point forward for anybody until things start turning around in their life.
That RV is nice.
But
If, as an option.
I'm telling you. It's not,
Right? Like,
Yeah, it's nice when it's optional to live in it.
It's like super
I think most
nice.
people will take a house that doesn't have wheels.
Yeah. Although my RV has an island and my real kitchen does not.
Is that right?
Yes. Now,
I would think that an RV, it's maybe a bad analogy, is a little bit like a hospital room in that it doesn't matter how big it is. At some point, it starts to feel real small when you're elbow to elbow with your husband and 2 kids.
it's honestly not that bad, but we have our backyard, so we spend a lot of time outside. It's the storage of stuff. Like, if you notice, I wear the same 5 outfits because I don't have room for clothes, and there's not a lot of sleeping room. And when you walk, the entire RV bounces. So if you're in bed, all of a sudden you're bouncing up and down, and not in the fun way, just because someone's walking through the kitchen.
Right.
But otherwise, honestly, it's not that bad. Did you hear how high pitched my voice got?
yeah,
It's not that bad, you guys. It's actually pretty great.
I can't figure out why you hate my house. I have offered it so many times. I'm out of town so much, and I keep offering it to her.
You
but
do.
I think what I'm doing is I am putting how I would feel about living in an RV on you, and it may be way more acceptable. So I keep begging her, like, I'm going to be out of town. Even if I'm in town, you could be downstairs and have more room. And she's like, nope, anything but that.
No, you're honestly, you've been so kind about it. It's the kids are comfortable in the space that they know, and so it would be going to a new space without their stuff, and then they're going to be more of a handful to manage. And so while the more space would be glorious, and it is so kind of you, it's more work with the kids. So I'm like, I'd rather just stay in my tuna can.
Okay, I won't take it
But
personal.
thank you. Yeah,
All right,
no.
Mo, you're in the home stretch. Number 4.
This one, comma, comma, sentence, period, comma.
What is, comma, the biggest misconception, comma, and you think listeners have about you?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I think it's a few. The one that I think probably stands out the most for me is I think not only listeners, I just think people in general take the fact that I am to myself as I think I'm better than people. I see that a lot.
Oh,
And,
really?
yeah, I get that all the time. And it's like, nah, I feel safe and comfortable with myself. That's really all it is.
People don't understand that you really are like truly an introvert.
Right. And I don't think it's just a me thing. I think that's just across the board for introverts. Like people tend to think that like that's why you kind of stay to yourself, or that's why, because your trust issues and all of that keep you to yourself, and they take it as you're just, you want to be apart from the group, or you think you're better than the group. And it's like, nah, it's not that at all. Stop.
Do you get that? Do you guys get that from family?
What's that?
That they think you think you're better than them? Sometimes I feel like I get that.
Yeah.
And they're right. Is it true? Last one. Why does marriage scare you more than having kids?
Marriage does not scare me. I think that's another misconception. I don't understand marriage. I don't understand a lot of the concepts of marriage. And I feel like we have gotten away from the true institution of marriage today, to where now I'm not so sure that it still has the same meaning that it used to, but I'm not afraid of it.
What does
Thank you,
that
Miss
mean?
America, for that answer.
Yeah, right. What does that mean, though? It doesn't have the same meaning as it used to.
There's a lot, but I feel like, okay, I'll give you an example. I feel like if I'm gonna get married to someone, I want them to want to get married to me, not to just want to be married. So a lot of the times when I hear women say, if you don't marry me, then I'm leaving, then that tells me that you don't want to be married to me. You just want to be married. I wouldn't get married in a situation like that. I got to know that you want to be married to me. This is a me and you thing. This is a person-to-person thing. This is not just you looking to be married to someone. That's one example.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Is he now officially done?
Carry on.
Okay.
You sure? No more comments?
No more comments.
All right.
It did feel like Plead the 50th today. there wasn't 5. By the way, Kristen is out today. Every now and then we have just one random day every Friday where somebody takes it off so they can have a 4-day work week, and this is her week this week. What great timing after Bert's big adventure. She's exhausted.
She picked a great week.
And we all wanted this Friday, right? So anyway, my therapist gave me this homework assignment that worked flawlessly, and now my ego is in a complete and total panic about it. So let me try to explain. So what we're really working on in therapy right now is, I've told you guys before, I don't do anything that doesn't have a grade attached to it, or a finish line, or some kind of success attached to it. I don't have any hobbies. And for the longest time, my hobby would probably have been working out, but it certainly wasn't back in the day for health reasons. It was for vanity reasons. I wanted an ab. Okay, that's like
Just one.
I wanted one ab.
A singular ab.
Yeah, just ab.
Is that too much for a guy to ask? I want an ab. So when I take my shirt off, it would look good. It was vanity. And again, it's sort of that adulation from other people. And this has been my entire life. So in therapy, we are really working on me finding some value in myself that isn't attached to any kind of success or a grade or ratings or anything like that at all. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I think when you get into an industry like this, you have a certain amount of ego and you want to be heard, right? Every single day we are rated. We see it, we feel it. So it works out perfectly for my kind of personality, that doesn't have a hobby that is so success based. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we were going to start working on, and one place she decided that we could start chipping away at this and experimenting, was online with Instagram, with TikTok. Because really, at the end of the day, what is Instagram?
An app.
It's an app, but for what?
For you to showcase your life?
Yeah, yes, and for us to get likes.
Validation.
Validation.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it for validation?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at me.
Right. So she was suggesting that I check Instagram less, instead of being sort of obsessed with answering all of the comments that come in and checking to see how many likes, is the content that I'm putting up what people want. Do it for fun. That's weird.
That is a weird request.
And she suggested it for TikTok also, right? Start an account that doesn't have anything attached to Bert Show Bert, and you could just have fun with it. So told you guys a couple of weeks ago when I got on TikTok, and I have mostly been a voyeur on TikTok than anything else. I love the content. I kind of feel like it is part of our job to know what's going on TikTok. So I am on it. I just had never posted. But on this particular day, with my assignment, I found World Talk and Euro Talk, and people were starting to exchange ideas about their different countries and their opinions about their countries and what they're doing right. And then you'd have some United States influencers that were starting to get in on it also. And this is right down my alley here because I love to travel so much and I love to learn about different cultures outside the United States. So I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, I'm so into this thing. I'm going to start posting about the United States, telling them what's going on in this country, and they could tell me what's going on in their country, what's better about theirs, what's better about ours, and we'll start to exchange some ideas. Well, after about 4 days, not only was the rest of the world really kind of crapping on America, which I don't like very much at all. It's okay for us to crap on our own country, but outside of here, when you start crapping on us, I was getting offended by it.
That's fair.
And secondly, quite honestly, if I have to be 100, as I'm starting to post now and I'm looking at the numbers, none of my stuff is gaining any traction at all, which is not what this is supposed to be about. But it drove me crazy that I stopped posting after 4 days.
But why? Because I feel like you almost can't post anything on social media without the comments and the people turning it into something stressful for you. So to be at the place where you are posting and you don't have an audience yet that's coming to attack you for almost anything you post, it seems like that would actually be healthy.
It wasn't even so much attacking. It was just again, here I am, success-based. It was the pure numbers. So,
got you.
On the first day, maybe like 3 people responded to it and I got 3 followers. Then maybe on the next day, I got 2, right? And it wasn't going fast enough for my success-based mind. It wasn't even the comments that I just gave up on it. I'm like, if people aren't following me, then this is not something I want to do.
Got you.
I think it's interesting that even with this homework assignment, you still chose to do something that would require you to perform. Like you're going to put the camera in front of your face and you're going to put out that video. Whereas why couldn't this challenge maybe have been an exercise in just commenting on 10 videos a day, interacting with 10 different people on other people's World Talks. So then that way you don't have to feel like this hobby has some kind of like measurement attached to it. It can just be you creating connections with other people who are creating videos.
I didn't even think of that. Again,
There you go.
Here is me battling this ego and my same routine over and over and over again that never even dawned on me. What made sense to me and the way that my circuitry is perform in some way. So this is what I got to start getting away from.
I don't know if this would help maybe if you shifted your perspective because like I don't I don't like to not be good at something.
Right.
So it's hard to start something.
Yes.
Right. But if you learn to actually find joy in the progression of it, you may only get 3 likes today, but then you see yourself get 6, then you see yourself get 12, and then you kind of find joy, and maybe it's not where I want it to be yet, but building it to that can also be just as gratifying.
And as a guy that coaches people on their podcast, the words you're using are the exact words I use on them. I take it easy, be patient, but still, that's not the assignment. The assignment is more of what Abby is suggesting, where it shouldn't matter how many people are following me, right? So the TikTok experiment goes away, and I decide I'm just going to detox from Instagram for a week and a half and not post. I normally like to post every day just to keep the algorithm up. People are connecting. So I decide I'm just not going to connect for a week and a half. So I don't. Even at Bert's Big Adventure, all I was doing was sharing everybody else's stuff on my stories, right? So when we get back from Bert's Big Adventure, I start posting again, and I used to get 2,300, 2,500, 3,000 likes, and now the Instagram is mad at me, so they're punishing me because I haven't been on in a week and a half. So now my posts are like getting 200 likes, 250.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't live with it. It's hurting me so much. I can't live with it. So the assignment that she gave me worked. Like, just put stuff up that is just stuff that you want to share in your life, and forget about the comments and forget about the likes. And it worked flawlessly. And I am in a panic now that I am totally and completely irrelevant.
It's tough because we don't live in a vacuum. I think it would be nice to think like, oh, I'm just going to put this out. It doesn't matter. But like, we are going to be perceived by other people. And I think when you put something out and you only get 200 likes, you're going to be like, oh, do people not care about me anymore? Like, that's what you see when you look at Instagram.
And that's exactly what we're trying to get away from. Is it shouldn't matter to me if it gets 12 likes, if it gets 20,000 likes. This is based on what I am sharing. And I got to be honest with you guys, even at this age, when I completely thought that I would stop learning things about myself, that it is a real struggle with ego not to get that outside adulation.
Well, I don't think it's just ego either. So popularity, which is what Instagram likes are, there's a biological component to that. Because back in the day when we were cavemen, the people who were popular inside the cave, inside the tribe, were the ones who survived, and the outliers were the ones who did not. Somebody stab you in the back or take you out. So getting that popularity or the likes is a sense of security and safeness within our society. So it's more than just ego. Like, you're literally fighting against a biological drive to be accepted, because that means safety and security, especially as someone whose entire career is essentially built on people liking you because they want to listen to you. So you're trying to turn your back on that all at once. Like, there's no way. And you're coming to a platform that literally is built for popularity and for that exact reason. It's like putting a food addict in front of a buffet. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to win. There's just no way to win in that atmosphere, in that environment.
I know this must sound very foolish to some of you guys that are listening right now that don't have this kind of personality or do this for a living, but I am trying to figure out what hobby I can get into that would strictly be for me, to where I don't need to be good at it every single day or progress, and just do something strictly for fun. Do you guys have anything like that?
Mike, Cassie and I suggest reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. Getting into the fairy books.
I do. I have photography. Like, for me, that's a side passion that I really like. And then I just, my husband got me a guitar probably 7 years ago now. And I really haven't ever played it. And I just picked it up again to start learning how to play guitar.
So based on photography, just for a second, if I started taking pictures, my mind would develop into, okay, I need to be so good to where I can sell these and make money off of it, rather than just take the pictures for the sake of it being like a hobby and being something that I just enjoy doing.
But I don't think challenging yourself is bad, because I have that same mentality. Like, I want the shot. I want the shot that looks like it could hang at the Smithsonian or be in a coffee table book. It doesn't mean you have to sell them. I think it's okay in your hobby to challenge yourself to be the best that you can be, and having that litmus test, that line being like, is this good enough to sell? Great. You just don't have to take the step to sell them.
I get exactly what you're saying because I'm the same way as well. Like I just started trying to teach myself how to play piano 2 days ago because I've always wanted to play an instrument, and I'm 2 days in looking up Beethoven. Like what? I'm so impatient. I want to get good already, but you got to find joy in the progress.
For me, I love to bake, and the reward in that is getting a little sweet treat at the end. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of progress.
I'm going to need to see evidence of this. Could you please bring it in studio?
There will be some on Monday.
So in your case, if it was baking, then my first thought is I need to be so good that I need to put together a book of recipes. And in yours, it would be, look, I'm learning how to play the piano. I should be playing Wembley by Saturday.
Maybe you need a Xanax, not a hobby.
Don't think I haven't had thoughts about doubling up on the meds lately. I think everybody at some point when like you decide you're going to go for a lifestyle change, like a diet or something like that you have a weight loss wake up moment, or in some cases it's a workout wake up moment where you're not nearly as in good a shape as you think you are, and it's time to make a change.
I definitely had that moment over our Bert's Big Adventure trip. And
so did I, man.
Man, I'll tell the moment in the end, but it was a pretty pathetic moment. And no one else knew it was happening. It was just me, myself, and I. But I knew in that moment, okay, I really got to make a change in life. And I got to this place because I've been, pretty much up until I was about, I'd say 30, I was an athlete. I was always playing sports, basketball, football, boxing, baseball, you name it. That was my lifestyle. And I worked out pretty much every day. And like most people, you get older, you start working a little harder, you don't have the time. So I think for a few years, I found myself in this place of, if I can get to the gym 3 to 4 days a week, then I'm doing all right. I'm not completely letting myself go. I'm all right. And I was cool with that for a while. And then I hit this point in my life where I don't know what happened, but I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this, but just mentally, I could not get myself to the gym. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy to do it. I didn't have the strength to do it. And I couldn't find the inspiration from anywhere to do it. Normally, I'll find it in reasons of vanity, looking at, okay, a vacation is coming up. That'll inspire me, like, you need to get in the gym.
And then those pictures on vacation, they're unforgiving.
Absolutely, right? And then sometime if you don't get it right, like you said, for the vacation, when you come back from the vacation, you look at them pictures and you're like, all right, I got to tighten it up. I got to get some things together.
Look, I've worked out for vacation, then been on vacation and gotten back and said, I didn't work out hard enough.
Right. Exactly that. So usually when I go into these slumps, I try to find a way to get myself out because I'm really big on momentum. I think that plays a huge part in your life. If you consistently go to the gym, it's never easy, but it's easier because you're in the groove of going. Same way, if you stop going, it becomes much easier to just not go. And that's where I found myself for a while. And I knew I was in it. I didn't really want to talk about it. I'm like, eventually I'll climb out of this and I'll get back to my old self. So I started boxing again. I got into the ring, had one sparring session, and was like, yeah, that's not it.
That hurts.
That's a no for me.
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog. I'm cool. I tried to play full court basketball, sprained my ankle. I was like, that's not it either. So I guess even when I was working out, I was avoiding cardio. That's always been my problem. I hate cardio. I don't want to run. I hate treadmills. And it's very important, especially as you get older.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got a heart thing going on also.
That's the other thing, right? So I'm at this place now where I'm like, all right, I'm getting older, and for the majority of my life, I've worked out for vanity reasons, but this is the first time where I'm genuinely like, it has to be about more than that, right? I may have kids within the next couple of years. I want to be around. I want to be able to move. I want to add years onto my life. These things are important. So I found myself pretty much praying for a moment that was going to wake me up so much that it was like, okay, now I'm actually focused. And I never thought that moment would happen on Bert's Big Adventure, but boy, did it. And it kind of was funny how the moment happened because leading up to it, I was watching the kids run around when we would go to certain places and we would have to go upstairs. I'm watching them go up 2-3 stairs at a time. And I'm like, wow, I remember those days. This is such a struggle for me. But it wasn't until we had the dance party that I realized how bad it really was.
You and I had the same moment, bro.
Man, listen, of all of the things that could have pointed out the fact that I am not in good enough shape, it was the cha-cha slide.
Shut up.
I'm telling you, Abby, when that man, at first I was cool Until you got the 5 hops this time. I was like, hey, bro. Hey, big dog.
Can we take it down a notch?
Yeah.
3 hops is fine.
I was feeling it on 3.
Can we negotiate?
Yeah, man. 5? Like, I don't even think I realized the song went up to 5 until we had to do 5 hops. And on that 5th hop, I was breathing a little hard. I was a little heavy on the 5th hop. Then he was talking about real smooth. Nothing smooth is happening after the 5th hop. And we finished the cha-cha slide, and I was legit like, I need to take a song off.
Yeah.
And the moment you got to take a song off at a kid's dance party because the cha-cha slide had you breathing a little heavy, I was like, it's definitely time for me to make a life change.
I walked out of that dance party, and I think I might have said the same thing to you, but it wasn't the cha-cha slide for me. It was that song where you're supposed to jump up, jump. Jump. So I'm jumping, right? And I am pouring sweat. And I'm a guy that goes to the gym, and I am especially careful about working on cardio. I do a lot of cardio. Gym cardio is very different than dance floor cardio, man.
Yes, it is.
So later that night, I checked my watch just to see what my heart rate went up to. And when I was on the dance floor with these kids, mostly in wheelchairs, my heart rate was at 162.
Oh my God. We got to get you in a Zumba class. Somebody sign y'all up for Zumba.
It's bad, man.
The Academy Awards are this week, and man, there was a time in my life where I had seen every one of these things. And when I saw the nominations, I'm like, oh, I've seen that. I love that movie. Oh, I love that movie. Man, then you get a little bit on the older side. Life gets in the way. I haven't seen one of these movies that is nominated for anything this year.
I don't think it has anything to do with an age thing. I don't know if it's just me, but I was looking at all the lists of the movies that are nominated for like the big awards, like Best Picture or Best Director. And I'm like, is it just me, or are movies getting more pretentious? Because I think a lot of the reasons I haven't seen a lot of these movies is they give off a pretentious vibe. And the only one I've seen is Wicked because I like pretty colors.
And that's the ones that LA loves. The Academy loves the pretentious ones, and they really love the ones that are focused on Hollywood and LA.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not that, I mean, I'm too busy to see a lot of them, but I don't want to. I also don't, if I had the free time, I don't want to watch those movies because a lot of them I do enjoy, like a really good deep think piece of a movie, but they just seem like boring.
Man,
I know.
Mo, when's the last time you went to a movie theater and watched a movie?
Ooh, it's been a while. Over a year, and I don't even remember the last movie I went, but I did go about a year ago. But yeah, these lists, I've always felt like maybe I just have really bad taste in movies because they never have a movie I've seen before.
And I love I love going to a movie theater. I love the experience of it. You know, going on a date night, getting the smell of the popcorn, sitting in the seats that you definitely don't want to have a black light on ever. But I do love the experience of it. But nowadays, we're becoming so cocooned when it comes to Netflix and first time movies coming out on like Hulu or whatever. Like, it's like such a hassle to get into the car and go to the movie theater.
And I always laugh at myself because they'll put a movie out and be like, oh, it's $6.99, and I'll pay $40 to go to the movies. I ain't paying that $6.99. Watch it in my house.
All right, Rebecca, so school us here on what we're supposed to see.
Yep, doesn't matter if you didn't see any Best Picture nominees because I watched all 10 of them. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to as a cinephile with my name on the line. So as quickly as I can, here is what I thought about all of them.
Okay.
All right, we start with the universally hated Amelia Perez.
Why do people hate that movie so much? I was talking to my son last night who goes to SCAD, and he's the same as you as movies, and he absolutely hated this movie.
It's because it was bad.
Long story short, wasn't good.
It was a very, very bad movie.
We were talking about this yesterday, though. It's crazy that it's winning like all the awards. I think it won like 13 Golden Globes, and yet everybody I know that's seen it was like, that was trash.
See, this is the difference between like the pretension of, the movie industry and the regular people.
It's a musical, right?
It is. It is a Spanish language musical crime film about a transgender cartel boss. Yes.
Okay, so it checks all the boxes for winning an award, but for enjoying as public consumption, musical, no thanks. In another language, that's work.
See, this is really part of the reason here why I put more credibility into Rotten Tomatoes than I do professional critics.
Me too.
The audience meter never goes wrong on Rotten Tomatoes. The biggest problem with this movie is that it is a Spanish movie written by a French man who doesn't know any Spanish, which left a lot of critics asking questions like, why did this movie get made? And ¿dónde está la biblioteca?
No bueno.
It features songs that we literally cannot play or else we would be taken off air. So I have given Amelia Perez 3 croissants wearing tiny sombreros.
Me gusta el pan.
Me gusta. Okay, the next one. A complete unknown. Do you want to know how excited I was to watch this Bob Dylan biopic?
Is that right up your alley?
Oh, right up my alley. Me and Abby were both invited to go see a private screening hosted by Wonka himself, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, you mean Gene Simmons? I mean Gene Wilder? I mean Gene Hackman?
One of them. And we still did not go. And that was the right choice because when I watched it in the comfort of my own home, I just think I'm not cool enough to like this movie, honestly.
Really?
Everybody's
saying he was so good in it and he became Bob Dylan.
The performance was great. It's just Bob Dylan's really annoying. It's like, okay, a biopic about a musician who is a complicated person yet talented. Wow, how engaging and exciting.
You might be a cinephile, but I do question your taste since you're wearing a t-shirt that says Saw the musical.
Oh, are you talking about my Saw the Musical, the unauthorized musical baby tee?
Yes, I am.
God, I love Saw the Musical. Go see it if it's anywhere in your
It's
city.
real? It's not
real.
a joke t-shirt?
Oh, I bought this $40 t-shirt after watching Saw the Musical, the unauthorized musical.
Okay.
Is it like a satirical musical? Is it like funny?
It is a homoerotic romp about the first Saw movie.
I feel like
See, this is the kind of stuff I would go to the theaters to see. Hollywood, get out of the closet or something.
They are in love and they do kiss.
I feel like the shrooms just kicked in.
Yeah, what is going on right now?
I'm not kidding. It's the most fun I've had at a play in I don't even know how long. So if you can see Saw the Musical, go see Saw the Musical. But I give a complete unknown one Rolling Stone. A single Rolling Stone. Coming to the stage. It's Honora.
Who is Honora?
That's Mikey Madison. She's really pretty, and she's a stripper. And this is
Mo's ears just peeked up.
This is a Cinderella story of a Russian stripper who ambitiously follows her dream of marrying rich and pays for it very dearly. It's a movie that brought up some big emotions for me, as it did make me cry real tears at a lap dance.
Oh, really?
So very, very emotional stripper movie, and I gave Honora 3.5 dollar bills soaked in my tears.
Okay. Are there subtitles in that so I get credit for watching a movie and reading?
You know what? There are a lot of subtitles.
Okay.
It's about a stripper. You're not going to be reading anything, okay?
I'm at a different age.
Okay, it's time to talk about The Brutalist. The Brutalist is almost 4 hours long.
Are you kidding?
Yikes.
4 hours. Yeah, I know.
That is brutal.
That's brutal.
Yeah. It's a period drama about an architect escaping post-war Europe, and it's a chore to get through, and the fact that it has an intermission does not help. An intermission
in the middle of the movie?
Yep, you can go get your popcorn and pee, I guess.
Oh, that's different.
So I know Hollywood is making a lot of cuts, financial cuts, and clearly they didn't hire an editing staff if it's 4 hours long.
Yep, 4 hours long.
No.
And I think it's up for best film editing too. But Taylor Swift's ex is in it.
Yeah, so I will not be watching.
Glad someone gave that man a job.
He's going to need one.
The Brutalist gets a single slab of concrete. And it's wearing a little yarmulke.
Got it.
Cute. Yeah, okay.
Are we mad at bathroom breaks in the middle of a movie?
No.
Maybe I'm getting old, but I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at it.
You can't hold it for 2 to 3 hours.
Listen, sometimes you got to go. You don't want to miss a scene.
Especially with the amount of water that you and I drink.
Yes.
Didn't it used to be like this, like way back in the day? Didn't they have intermissions for movies? Like way back, like in
Really?
the 50s and all.
I feel like they did, but now I just use the Run P app,
Yes.
which tells you what scenes you can miss in the movie.
Sounds like in some of these movies, it can be the entire movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. I have a confession to make. Forgive me, Father, for I have slain. I I have been baptized in the holy waters of conclave. Who knew the Catholic Church could serve like this? So this movie is about the new selection of a pope, which is unfortunately very topical.
Yeah.
But it's literally just divas in long dresses spilling the hot goss at the messy queen convention. It's like the Real Housewives of the Vatican, and they're all wearing great gowns, beautiful gowns.
I was talking to my ex-wife last night about this movie. When she and Joe first started seeing each other, they went to this movie, and she hated it so much she wanted to walk out, but it was their like first date, so she didn't want to make the impression.
Oh, no.
So she sat through it, and she said it was absolutely horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I really liked it, actually. You'd think a movie about like the Catholic Church could be kind of boring, but it's got a lot of intrigue.
Yeah? Okay.
And doesn't Voldemort star in it?
It is Ralph Fiennes. Yes, Mr. Voldemort himself. So I give Conclave 3 chalices of holy water that I've turned into tea.
Okay.
Spill the tea.
Moving on to Nickel Boys.
The what?
I've never heard of that.
Nickel Boys.
Nickel back over Nickel Boys.
More like pickle noise. I forgot to watch this movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I bet it's great. I actually forgot that it was on the list.
Is this the unauthorized Nickelback biopic?
Perhaps, honestly, as far as I know, it might be because I forgot to watch
I am
it.
so out of the loop that I hadn't even heard of that movie.
Me either.
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about it, but I bet it's great. I just didn't see it. So up next, I'm Still Here. Spoiler alert, I barely was, because by the end, I had cried so hard I couldn't see the screen. Because it turns out it's kind of hard to come up with jokes about a memoir following the military dictatorship in Brazil, but I'll try. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
It could happen here too.
Oh, damn. That's the worst knock-knock joke I've ever heard.
I'm Still Here 4 bottles of Curacao.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys, are you ready to try the substance? Oh my God.
This is Demi Moore's movie, right?
Yes, this was my favorite movie of the year. Mama, a girl inside you. This movie is Barbie for people who've taken ketamine and not for their horse. This post-feminist body horror spectacle stars Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley as the same person, struggling to make it work in a world that demands unachievable beauty standards. It changed my life. But I feel compelled to share a very quick breakdown of trigger warnings that this movie contains. I have to take a sip of water for this.
Okay.
Do not see this movie if you are disturbed by needles, bugs, vomit, teeth damage, toe damage, finger damage, eye damage, dislocations, decapitations, amputations, breaking bones, flashing lights, and blood.
What?
Is this the one that the dude ran out of the movie vomiting?
He did. Yes, he was gagging on the way out. Me and the only other guy in the theater as we watched this movie.
Okay, so I'm not going to see it. I haven't seen it, but I think she should win the Academy Award, but not for this movie, but for St. Elmo's Fire. From way back in the day that she was never recognized.
Oh, she's the old one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Retroactively. But yet, honestly, the grossest thing in this movie still is Dennis Quaid eating shrimp. I give the substance 5 vials of mystery goo.
Okay.
You'll see a lot of it.
Right up your alley.
Okay, 2 left. Dune, part 2. This movie has everything. Sandworms, psychic nuns, Timothy Chalamet. They do have psychic nuns.
That is the most random list ever.
It's what it's got. It's Dune. Timothy Chalamet and Austin Butler in a knife fight over who gets to be the next white boy of the month. All right. I give Dune 2 weirdly erotic Dune-themed popcorn buckets.
Okay. I actually did see this movie. It was on a plane, which I think is the worst place to see a movie like that because you have to see it on a big screen and on a little 6x6 screen. It sucked.
You didn't like it?
I did not like it at all.
No.
I did not.
I thought Dune was the most mainstream one that people would really, really like.
Is Oscar Isaac in this one?
Spoiler alert, I don't think he is. I think he's only in the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're
then I
not
don't
getting
like
your
it.
actors right today.
Okay, he's in the first one, though, and that's the reason I watched it. Daddy Isaac.
Okay, are you guys ready to hold space for a really hot take?
Okay.
I did not care for Wicked.
Oh, damn.
I know that probably surprises people because I literally painted myself green for the private
Yes.
showing that we did.
The community is going to kick you out.
I know. I thought it was fine. It was fine. It was the most bisexual movie of the year with Bicon Fierro.
Which is surprising why you don't like it.
I know. It was fine. It's cute. Honestly, I don't like Wicked the musical that much when I could go see Saw the musical at any point. So I give Wicked one gentle Ariana Grande grasp of an index finger.
So you didn't really like the whole lot of them.
You know, it was a mixed bag this year. It was like my love for the substance kind of just like it surpassed everything else.
What is it about The Substance that you love so much? Because you have been raving about it ever since you went to go see
You
it.
gotta watch it, girl. Go in blind. Go in blind and just see it and just, like bring a barf bag maybe.
Okay, go girl, give us nothing.
The most random movie, man. The most random movie, especially for Demi Moore to be in.
Well, it's feminist, it's body horror, it's a satire, it's funny, it's surreal, it's silly. There's a lot of butt shots in it.
And Margaret Qualley's boobs.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of naked women. If you're like that, if you're into that, go watch The Substance.
Okay, Academy Awards are on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Sunday. I think it's about to be very competitive and very heated in here. You ever seen like the beginning of a UFC match at the weigh-in or whatever, or a boxing match when the
face-off.
Is that what they call it? The face-off, where one of two things happens: either they're staring each other down, eye to eye, right, or one of the contestants won't even look at the other one, right? That's what I'm picking up here as we are about to get into our Spades challenge with Kiani and Josh. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys this morning?
Good.
Look at you, not even making eye contact with Mo. Trying to intimidate him right now.
Nah, we the underdogs, man.
So what is the history here? So all I know is that we've got Bert show champs when it comes to Spades. And it for sure, actually it's the whole radio station, because Katie and Mo one night came in. We were having a party, Bert Show party / Q99.7 party. Mo and Katie came in here and wiped it clean with everybody.
Yeah, I think that was the time that we discovered that Spades, everybody is not familiar with the game of Spades. But as far as in the black community, I feel like if you don't know how to play Spades, it goes against your permanent record.
Is that right?
Yeah, since college, that's all we would ever do whenever we would get the time is play Spades. You either played Spades or you played bid whist. That's how I was growing up in my family.
Now, Kristen got a lot of credibility because she was like one of the few on the show that know how to play Spades that are white.
I think she was the only, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she said she knew how to play, so of course we had to pull it to the test, and she could play.
Yeah. So we've been bragging about these guys, and Kiani and Josh, who are celebrating an anniversary, correct?
Yes, 10 years.
Congrats, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, so what's the history here? And if you were going to get inside of their heads, because we're going to have this competition over the course of the next couple of hours off the air, what's your history here with Spades?
Winning. Everybody. Beating.
Everybody.
Whooping.
Well, I remember playing since I've been 3.
Is that right?
Playing with my parents, my dad, my grandma, everybody. We would do it at family events, high school, lunch table, all that stuff.
Same with you, yeah?
Yeah, same. I mean, I've been playing since I can't even remember, really young, all through college, all through high school. And like I said, in my family, we would have Spades tournaments all of the time. Whenever you get the family together, you playing poker, you playing dominoes, you playing Spades. That's how I go.
Katie, you want in on this?
I was told that I wasn't black enough if I didn't learn how to play Spades.
Exactly.
So I learned in college. I was a late bloomer, but now I've got it down pat. I think I got this in the bag.
Good.
Only need one her to be cocky. All right, take down the best.
Exactly.
When is the last time you guys actually lost?
Never.
Oh! Undefeated on the line.
Well, I mean, listen, Spades, one of the reasons I love Spades is because individually you can be good, but it's a team game. Once you get a partner, it's all about chemistry. It's about reading your partner. It's about learning how your partner moves. And so I ain't gonna lie, they definitely have an advantage in being married for 10 years and having played together. I'm sure way more than Katie and I have played, but that don't mean we could still win.
We practiced, though. Did you practice?
I did not practice, unfortunately. I didn't get the heads up. But I played enough in life to where I don't think I need it.
Okay.
All right. Undefeated, though, Mo.
I heard that.
Undefeated.
Hey, the dream team lost once. All right. Anything possible.
All right. Do we have any stakes here? Like, what's on the line?
Katie, where's that ring? Mo, did you find your ring?
I did find my ring.
Would y'all be willing, if you lose, to give up those rings?
Oh, wow.
Because they earn those as champions, and if champions usually get beat, the champions give up their belts.
Not a problem.
This is nice. This got some weight to it.
Katie, you good giving up your ring?
Yeah, this is hefty. Take a look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Diamonds dripping off that thing.
That's a Super Bowl ring.
It does look like a Super Bowl
it
ring.
resembles a Super Bowl ring, for those wondering.
So how long does a traditional game of spades, how long can it go on for?
Depends on what you play to. Like, you can play the 100, you can play the 200, you can play the 300. So it kind of depends. I think the majority of people play the 300, but that usually is a longer game. I don't know if we want to shorten it up due to time.
All right, yeah, the time is the issue here because I think he'd like to be out of here by 10 o'clock, or you can play all weekend if you want.
I'd like 10.
to be
10
out of
is
here by
fine.
10.
Yeah, 10 works for me.
So it's going to be in between us doing breaks and stuff like that. So what should the number be that you guys are playing to? Let's have an agreement right now.
Are we doing one game or are we doing a series?
You'll have, like with breaks, you'll probably have about 50 minutes or so total of playing time. So you figure out how long that
If
would
we're
take.
doing one game, I feel like we'll play the 300. But if we're doing like a series, we'll probably need to do like 100.
Let's do 100. Play to 100. Best 2 out of 3. You think you could do it within
I
that?
think we could do that.
Okay. All right.
good.
Okay.
That'll work.
What time you got to be out of here at the latest? Never. They're good. You play here until they're done. Okay. God bless his heart. So the reason why I was out for a day, was it a day? Last week, was I drove to Savannah to be by my kid's side during his very first breakup.
Oh, man.
Bless his little heart.
I remember that.
So when it comes to dating, my kid's been a bit of a late bloomer, right? And I want to be really careful here also about what I say because he's sheepish about me sharing his life on the air. So I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of details, but really, just over the course of the last couple of days and watching him go through this breakup and deal with all the emotions, God just brought back so many memories that we all have had from that first breakup, you know, like he doesn't understand like waking up in the morning and your first thought is her or him, you know, and then you can't get your mind off of that. And the physicality of it, the nerves he's feeling all day long about, and then wanting to like throw up all day long and not being able to eat, or be able to focus on anything. And what's worse is that he's got like finals this week also.
Horrible timing.
So it's like life doesn't care, you know. So I ran down there to try to comfort him through this whole thing, and you know he's in his 20s now, and this was a very significant relationship for him. It was a cross the country relationship, so it was difficult from the start, but that doesn't even matter. And he's a very, very sensitive kid also. So do you guys remember the very first? And I tried to tell him also, like, everything that you're experiencing right now, man, I know this really feels bad because it's the very first time, but anytime that you are in love and you are vulnerable and you think that he thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with this girl, right? That anytime you go through a breakup like this, man, this is what it feels like. For me, it didn't get any easier the amount of times I broke up.
Yeah, the first one is usually the worst one. That's what they say. And for me, it definitely was because I just felt like life was over. It felt like my whole life is ending. And you kind of don't feel like you have a sense of a purpose anymore because like you said, every thought is about her. That's the person you go to talk about all of the smallest things throughout your day. And then you got to kind of come to this realization that like I can't call this person anymore. This person is not going to be there for me anymore. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you just got to go through it. You know, time is really all that can help. I remember my mom and my friends trying to console me, but it really was just a matter of just getting through it the best way that I could. And I think it gets a little easier as you grow older and realize that every relationship is just not meant to be forever. But that first one, it stings pretty deeply.
Yeah, I think people are starting to wake up to the fact that a breakup can really be related to grief. And there's so many things that you have to grieve when it comes to a breakup. You have to grieve, the person that you lost because they're still alive and you know that they're out there. And that's in some way frustrating in the sense that you feel like there's still some modicum of control left. Like, I could still call them up. I could still reach out to them, but they're still gone. Like they're out of your life. You have to grieve the future that you thought you were going to have, all the plans that you were going to make, the security, the comfort of having that person. But then I also feel like you have to grieve the person that you were with them. I feel like that's one of the reasons that we fall in love with people is because you love them, but also you love who you become around them. And that's a part of yourself that dies and you have to now rebuild yourself on top of not wanting to be in the situation because you didn't choose this and having to grieve that person.
And his social group is very small. So he's also lost a best friend and somebody that he really spent most of his social time online talking to or on the phone talking to. So he's lost both.
I feel that my first big love was my best friend, and it split up our friend group. And I remember when we broke up, I couldn't get out of bed. I was missing class. I got depressed. I would throw up when I thought about him. All of these things. But the way, and you're right, there's nothing you can do except go through it in time. I hate time heals all wounds, but it kind of does.
Yeah.
But here's a hack that I did find was helpful, because what would happen is I would still call him every day. Like, it would still go through the motions. And all that did was he would be doing the things that we had planned together with other people. And it hurt so bad. And finally, I mean, he called, he's like, we can't keep talking like this. We got to split. And so I found finding a new routine and new habits, because it was so routine to pick up the phone and call him because it was long distance. Substituting something else for that I would get in that rhythm. So whenever I found myself picking up the phone, I'd go do this other thing instead. Like, I think for me back then, it was like go for a run. It just kind of helped establish those new routines and wean me off needing that other person.
Yeah, and there were a lot of positives that kind of came out of it also. I'm really proud of how we all handled it as a family, because Stacy and I were on the phone with them last night. Her significant other, Joe, was involved in it. Amanda was giving advice also. So there's a lot of positives also that I was trying to teach him last night, that I know you're hurting right now. And then we went through the whole back and forth friendship thing. Can we be friends? And I'm like, man, I tell you what, the only regret that I really have when it came to breaking up with women was that I held on way too long when I knew it was over. Just thinking that it would get better and fighting. He's got his mom and dad's fighting spirit. Like, he don't like to fail, right? So he's pushing the can down the road. And I was telling him, like, this is a really good lesson here. Like, once you know, you kind of know. Yeah. So that was the first thing. And the second thing is, like, clean breaks, man, is really what you got to do, because especially with this first one, and this is really hard because we are talking about his best friend also, and they're going to want to go online and they're going to want to talk about games and anime or whatever. There's connecting them or whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't work, man, because your feelings are going to get mixed up and nothing is really changing in the relationship. It was the distance between the two of them that was really at the heart of this whole thing, and that's not going to change. You just got to start, like, the self-esteem foundation, the blocks of your self-esteem are built from this point forward. So it's not really, he was great in the relationship. I'm so proud of who he was. Very vulnerable, very loving, very giving, very sensitive. And now with the breakup, I said to him, you gave everything, man. You did nothing wrong. It's a space thing. It is a time thing. And the way you deal with the breakup now moving forward is really going to be one of the building blocks of self-esteem for you moving forward. So don't take this as an L, man. This can be a W from this point forward. And he really seemed to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, breakups are tough, and no one has sat through more breakup stories than me having a breakup podcast. And even though it's tough when you're sitting in that pain, there is light. It will get better. No one has ever been broken from a breakup forever, I don't think. So you just got to...
Maybe one or two
people, but they're the outlier. They're the outlier.
Our producer Jackson here is about to tell us when we are all going to die. Why would he do that? Because Jackson ruins everything. Jackson ruins everything, including life. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah, you know, while I'm ruining everything, why not ruin the entire world? Literally, okay? So at the end of last year in December, there was a discovery made by NASA scientists of an asteroid called 2024 YR4. Okay? It made a little bit of a close pass by Earth, about 2 times out the distance of our moon. And we picked up on it, and they started running some projection models on it, okay? Now, these asteroids have an orbit that go around and around and around, and, you know, the smart people over at NASA go and look at these models, and they try and predict where this asteroid is going to end up. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay?
Now, when an asteroid, just so I'm clear, when an asteroid of any size reaches Earth, it's going to affect the entire globe?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so we have a chance.
We have a chance, okay? So this one in particular is estimated to be between about, I think, 150 and 300 feet long, okay?
Okay, size of a football field, Mo.
Got it. Doesn't sound too crazy, but to give you a little bit of context, the one that hit, so there was this event that happened in Russia in 1908 that's known as the Tunguska event, and a very similarly estimated sized asteroid actually exploded right over this area of Siberia, and it flattened like 2,000 square kilometers of forest completely.
That's scary.
And it's very fortunate that it happened in the middle of literally nowhere, to the point where they didn't even know what had happened until years later, when some people were walking through the area and were like, what happened here? Like the whole forest was pretty much flattened, right? So this one in particular, they're trying to run these models on where it's going to end up. And initially they were like, maybe we need to be a little bit concerned. They gave it a 1.5% chance of hitting the Earth in 2032 when it makes its second flyby by Earth.
Okay. 1.5 doesn't sound like very much. However, when you're playing the lottery and it says you have 0.000% chance or 1%, you're like, well, at least there's a chance.
I am going to ruin Jackson's segment because I have high anxiety. I'm the kind of girl who found out the Mayan calendar ended in 2012 and prayed every single night for 5 years that wasn't true. The threat is now 0 as of 3 hours ago.
I was getting there, Cassie.
Okay, Cassie ruins everything. Cassie ruins everything.
I was building up the story.
I needed to let my high anxiety folks know they were going to be okay. Otherwise, I'd be praying every night until 2032 that an asteroid did not hit the Earth.
If I had a dime for every time you killed a bit before we got to the punchline, I'd have 2 dimes, which isn't a lot.
I think you'd have 30 cents.
Okay, well, ignore that fact for now, because those were initial estimates of the 1.5%.
This is like being in a courtroom where the judge says, you didn't hear that. All right, that is not admissible.
Right, that statement.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that off the records for us, please. So then a couple days after they made that initial estimate, they went and they did another, and they were analyzing it again, and then they realized that it was a 1 in 32 chance of hitting the Earth.
1 in 32 or 1 in 32 million?
1 in 32. That is a 3.1% chance.
Okay. Keeping in mind that we're not listening to what Cassie said, that is terrifying.
Yes.
I hope it goes down to 0.
Wouldn't that be something?
And so they're able to track with some degree of accuracy. Obviously, these are estimates, and so the estimated arrival was going to be December 22nd of 2032, and that's when this was supposed to supposedly potentially make impact on Earth.
Dang, and it was right before Christmas like that.
I know. Why would they do it like that?
That's foul,
I
man.
know. The asteroid needs to catch a hint.
Religiously, it makes some sense.
Good point.
That is true. And it was going to land somewhere a little bit north of the equator. So they were predicting a little bit north of South America, through the Atlantic Ocean, Central Africa, and also some parts of South Asia. Okay. That's kind of this band of where they thought it was going to happen. Now, this isn't one of those planet-ending asteroids, but obviously it would cause a pretty significant amount of damage, right?
Yeah, okay. Now, if it was going to land somewhere in the United States and take out some parts of... Okay. I was going to say Rhode Island.
Yeah. Who needs them, right? But yes, Cassie, to your point, after they've been very much looking very intently at this, to the point where it was enough of a concern, it became the highest risk asteroid that they've ever detected ever. And so there's this space telescope that's up there orbiting Earth right now called the James Webb Telescope. It's the most powerful telescope that we have right now.
Jimmy Webb, smart guy.
He is an absolute genius, and they actually had to use all of the resources on that telescope to further analyze this asteroid to really make sure that we weren't actually, potentially headed for a disaster.
I'm not worried. We got Bruce Willis. Yeah, hop up on that thing. Listen,
do we?
I feel.
Stop! No, come on. This is a family show.
I do feel bad that I stole the anxiety out of your bit. So I will say that currently there is a space program on Earth that allows its rockets to tumble free fall anywhere on Earth, re-entry from space.
Really?
Although really only 10% of Earth is inhabited by humans, which is why they do it. But it literally could land anywhere from New York City to the middle of the ocean.
Okay, so that maybe makes up for you ruining this in the first place.
It's heightening the anxiety.
Right, keep going.
And speaking of heightening the anxiety, yes, you're right. They did another analysis, and they're basically saying it's a 0% chance. It's like 0.000 whatever that it's going to hit Earth. But there is now an added risk that it's actually going to hit the moon. And it's a 1.7% chance of hitting the moon now.
Now, so if you're thinking that's not going to affect us, the moon does have an effect on the Earth.
The moon is very important for Earth.
Quite a bit.
I know.
Okay. So I'm not really sure what to take from that, except we're not in the clear.
We would get another moon because the theory is the moon is actually from the Earth originally. Like it's not a separate entity. Like the rocks kind of match up.
It's
unlike with Mars.
It's like a little Earth baby.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have 2 moons instead.
I know. And even if it hit the moon, if it put out enough debris, it could put a ring system around the Earth. That'd be kind of cool.
New features unlocked.
Like a crazy ass roller coaster.
I know.
I like the idea.
Earth Update 2032 is going to be great.
When the Earth gets a ring before me.
I'm going to need a little bit of an update here, Mo. So about an hour ago, we had a Bert Show listening couple come in here that said that they were great at Spades. They said undefeated, taking on Mo and Katie, who are not only the Bert Show champs, but are the radio station champs, taking you guys on. Guys been out there for about an hour now, and although we are in an airtight studio, I can hear some S-talking going on out there, some laughter going on out there, some disappointment going on out there.
Right.
So where are we standing?
Well, I think Katie and I went into it humbly, understanding that they might have just a little more chemistry than us. They've probably have more history than us. They've been playing together longer. And
10-year anniversary.
Right, exactly that. Katie and I haven't played together in quite some time. We haven't practiced together, but we wouldn't let that stop us from going out here and creating a competition, right? So that's what we did. And I'll tell you this, before we get to whatever the end results will be in an hour, there was a point in the round when my man looked at his wife and said, what's that word when people come in acting like they haven't played in a while and then they start kicking your butt? And she said hustled. I think the word you're looking for is hustled. So that should give you an idea of exactly how what's really going on out there right now. All right?
And I want to keep in mind here, they said they were undefeated.
Never lost.
Never lost.
No one has ever beat them.
All right, we got an hour.
We got an hour.
An hour left.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's still a lot of game to be played, but yours truly and Katie are playing very well out there.
Feeling yourself right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, let's get to this email here real quick because she says she used to be promiscuous, right? Those days are kind of behind her now, but she's going into this weekend. She's got a really difficult decision to make and wants our help. Go for it, Cass.
Hey, Bert Show. I love you guys and listen every morning, so I figured you'd be the perfect people to ask for advice. I don't really want to be on the air, though, so if you could just read my email and give me some advice and motivation, I'd appreciate it. I've been living my best life in the dating scene for a while now, and I won't lie, I've had a lot of fun. I've always been the why not kind of girl when it comes to dating, never holding back if there was attraction and chemistry. But the thing is, as much as I've enjoyed myself, it hasn't exactly led to a serious, lasting relationship. I've had situationships, one-night stands, flings, booty calls, and a few guys who seemed promising but never actually committed. Lately, I've been taking a step back and realizing that maybe my approach hasn't been working in my favor. My friends have been telling me for a while that I should slow down and let a connection build before jumping into bed. And at first, I brushed it off, but the more I look at my track record, the more I think they might be right. So I've decided to change things up and try dating differently, less impulsive, more intentional. I'm a recovering slut. Her words, not mine.
Oh boy. Okay.
Here's where I need your help. This weekend, I'm going out with a total hottie. Like, seriously, my type.
Must be nice.
Normally, I'd go with the flow and let whatever happens happen. But this time, I really don't want to sleep with him. And not because I don't want to, because trust me, I do. But because I know that rushing into things hasn't worked out for me in the past. I want to keep things classy and actually build something real for once. So how do I stick to my new mindset without killing the vibe? How do I resist temptation when I know I'll be feeling it? And how do I show that I'm interested without making it seem like I'm playing games? Basically, how do I be a lady in the streets and in the sheets?
So for me here, if I'm dating somebody and it's getting to that point and they say they are not comfortable yet going that route, deal is off, man. I mean, that's the one place that you should feel more safe than anywhere else, right? So if you're not comfortable with your safe and you don't, or with yourself, and you're not into it, that is not a place for compromise.
Well, I think for the first date, maybe take the pressure off of it because more than likely something's probably not going to happen. I don't think most people go into a first date expecting for something to go straight to the bedroom. So maybe take the pressure off for that. But moving forward, I think you've just really got to lean into yearning, bring back pining, bring back wanting something that's not there yet. And I think if you focus more on channeling that sensual energy that you've got going on into kind of building the anticipation and doing things that kind of tease us to what's to come rather than like what you're going to jump into the bed and do immediately. I think that'll make it more fun and kind of make it feel like it's less of a denial and more of like building anticipation.
It's tough to speak to it from a woman's perspective, but from a man's perspective, I feel like the answer is pretty simple. You got to learn to give the trailer without giving the movie. And I feel like any man that is for you or is looking for a situation to last with you, if you don't give him the movie and he sticks around, then you have your answer. Because most guys, not all, but most come in wanting to see the movie and not caring about the trailer.
I may sound real old here, maybe, I don't know, real conservative or what have you, but I'm so glad that this came up this morning because the timing of this couldn't be any better. I was going to talk about this in half an hour, but here we are talking about the value of sex, right? And specifically a first time. There has been a trend now that, like for the last 6 months, that to me, I hate to even say it, but because it makes more of a statement than the actual physical thing itself. There has been a trend now where women are getting credibility online by sleeping with as many guys as they can in a short amount of time, right? We have seen this, a couple of different influencers the last couple of months. One said she wanted to have sex with 100 guys in 24 hours. Then there was another woman saying she wanted to have a sex with 1,000 guys, right? Then I'm reading this morning, there's an OnlyFans actress that she's got this bold plan as the headlining to bet a man from every country. And she's starting to get credibility, or not credibility, but she's starting to get likes, and online she's starting to gain a lot of traction. And I'm not exactly sure why this is bothering me so much. I don't have a daughter. I don't want to be here and try to put my values on people, but there's something here that is scratching at the surface that this is valuable now, when I think, what am I trying to say? I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to say. What I really want to say is that I really kind of find it gross. But there's something that is playing here underneath it that is so dysfunctional and unhealthy that we seem to be embracing, that I don't know. It's this specific thing really bothers me.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I don't think this is anything new. I think it's just jumping off from the restricted sites to more mainstream headlines. Like, I think nowadays when anybody can pull up a camera and become an OF star and make millions and millions of dollars, it's encouraging these women to be as outrageous as possible and do things to market people that might not be on those sites, to find them on OnlyFans or other sites where adult content is found. And I know what you mean by saying it's gross. I think it's the same thing that's been happening for years, as long as sex has been on the internet. It's just making its way to like the Daily Mail, which is at the end of the day good marketing for them.
I think I'd probably be saying the same thing if this was a dude that was doing this as well, but somehow, some way, there's like a different attachment to it's almost like we expect guys to be pigs.
Well, so I think it's a two-pronged thing. I think you're right in that there is some underlying issues. Like for mental health, a lot of people use sex for self-esteem boosting and things like that. So if you're coming here and saying, I want to do 1,000 men and I want the world to see it, like I want to have a conversation like, are you okay? Are you in an okay place? If you're in an okay place, then go for it, girl. And I think that's how we treat men and women differently, because I guarantee you there are dudes with bucket lists for women in every country. There was a guy who used to walk down the hall who used to brag that he had bedded over 400 women. And people were like, ew, but we didn't have these big discussions about it because it's okay for men to do it, but not women.
I would say neither one of them are in an okay place. If you're a guy that's having sex with 400 women, you're not in an okay place. And if you're a woman whose goal is to go and have sex with 1,000 guys in a couple of months, or bet as many guys with as many passports as possible, you're not in an okay place.
But maybe you are. Maybe you're just applying how you feel about sex and they just don't feel it that way.
I guess. And I guess I'm trying to be as open-minded as you are, but in all honesty, it's not a healthy place to be in.
I'm with you. And the increased risk for pregnancy or STDs, like it's something. If my friend came to me and I would say, hey, let's go see a therapist first.
I felt like the culture has been over sexualizing men, women. I just feel like we almost desensitized to sex at this point. Like that's really what it's become. And I remember saying this years ago. I felt this way for a long time. It's just like it's almost as if we're leading with that now. That's obviously always been there, but it's like, is that all there is, and is there more? And I remember saying it, and it was like mixed feelings from women. Some women were saying, Mo, I appreciate your old school values. Thank you for saying it. Whereas other women felt like, you know, it's not your business, and it's whatever you want to do with your body is. And I agree with that. So I kind of backed out of it. But at the same time, I completely understand what you're saying. I felt that way for a while. It's a little too much.
I think the difference here is also this is this woman's job, whoever is doing it. And I think if we're going to be politically correct for her to do sex work, if you were to do anything an extreme when it came to your work, if I was to spend 100 hours at the studio every single day, or if I was to compromise something about myself for a bit or any other aspect of my work, we would look at that as like, oh, that's almost like abusing yourself and abusing your time and abusing. It feels like abuse at that point, to where it almost feels like with these women doing these extreme acts for sex work, it's like you're overworking yourself to the point where it does start to feel like self-abuse.
Yeah, it does feel like self-harming. If somebody came in here and they were cutting themselves, or they were online cutting themselves, they're being, oh my God, you need to get help, you need to get help, you need to get help. But isn't this emotional cutting?
No, because what's the difference though between, like, if I did come in here and bust my butt and stayed in the studio 20 hours a day and I made it big and I made headlines, everyone would be like, look at her work ethic. She wanted it and she got it. And these women, if this is their work is sex work, and they're making headlines and they're making bank for that. If they don't have an emotional attachment to having sex and it's literally just a physical thing for them, then why would we? I understand it's not the same for everybody, and there are a lot of strings attached when you talk about that and religion, and not everyone feels that way, but you should be able to step back and be like, all right, if you want to, go for it, as long as your mental health is in a good space. Get it. I
guess I get into my head also on, like, what are you teaching the girls that are online also, the young girls that are online, that this is okay, you can make more money, and this is this is acceptable.
Why isn't it though?
Because I think that there is emotional and psychological ramifications to doing that often, and it not being an intimate experience at all.
Yeah, and I think there's emotional and physical ramifications to overworking yourself in any area. But I think, to your point, I think what you're trying to say is, have we lost the plot that sex is more than just a physical act?
Mm-hmm. I also think when you listen to women who have lived that life at some point and then now they're out of it, they will speak to a lot of the struggles and things that they have now that they didn't realize they were going to have as they were doing it. And I feel like if more of those women were to speak up, it would send a message to the younger women that I think they need to hear.
It's about an hour and a half ago, this Spades game between Mo and Katie on one side, and our listeners Kiani and Josh on the other side, undefeated Kiani and Josh, started taking place. We weren't supposed to check in with you guys until the end of the show, so why are we all here?
Well, what happened was when we initially set the tournament up, it was going to be 3 games to 100. But once we got started, we realized doing it in between the breaks, we weren't going to have enough time to do a 3-game series. Mm-hmm. So we agreed on 1 game to 300, which is the standard way to play Spades anyway.
Okay.
So at that point, it was agreed upon and we started playing. Now, Katie and I came out the breaks looking pretty good, if I say so myself, right? And at that point, we left the lovely married couple outside alone.
Who has just filed for divorce.
And somehow, I guess they got to talking about that 300 number that Katie and I were approaching rapidly.
So you guys had all agreed to that 300
We
number.
all agreed to the 300 number.
Okay.
Then we started playing. Like I said, Katie and I started approaching 300 fairly quickly. And at that point, there was some kind of renegotiation that they said needs to take place, because now they would rather play to 500 instead of 300.
Kiani, what's your side on that?
Listen, it's not enough time. They keep leaving. They got to work. We need to be focused.
Aren't we both dealing with that same problem?
Yep.
It just messes with the chemistry. Though.
But everybody's playing on the same field.
Same field.
They got the same thing going on here.
Now, wouldn't you say that y'all actually have more time to work on the chemistry? When Mo and I come in here, we're back in work mode. You two are just, you got your time to strategize.
Well,
It
listen,
seems valid.
Well, we don't got cocktails. I mean, it's a lot of different reasons, you know? So,
We got a bottle down the hall if that's what you want. So
can
let's
make
go to
that
500 then.
So you guys are only good when you're buzzed.
Yes.
Oh, well.
And
That's
apparently,
fair enough.
apparently at
Better.
night, because, we're playing in the morning.
I
The excuses started coming out of nowhere. I mean, they started flying.
There's a slight breeze. I got a temperature.
Now, I haven't sat in on a full Spades game before. So is this common where one is winning and then the other one decides, like, wait a second, that's not exactly
Switch it up.
what we get the switch up?
Yeah, so this is pretty common.
This is pretty common.
This is how it goes. It gets loud. Sometimes people fight. It gets crazy. It gets crazy.
All right, so where are we at now? Like, who is winning and can, with the original rules, even though there's no alcohol, it's not at night, with the original rules of getting to 300, how close are we?
Josh, you the scorekeeper. You remember the score?
170 to 250.
170 to 250. And things can change fast.
Things can change, right? If they set Katie and I, they would be front runners in only one hand. So it can change at any point. I just think they realize that the chemistry Katie and I have might be a little stronger than they anticipate.
Hold on.
I think that's what's going on here.
Sounds about right to me, Mo.
Like, right? I mean, once you see the married couple start arguing a little bit, you know.
All right, so I think because, just in the interest of fairness, this is what you guys said initially to 300.
Yes.
Even though there have been a lot of stops and starts, Mo and Katie have a lot of stops and starts also.
Yes.
So I think after Entertainment Buzz, you got to finish this whole thing out. Okay?
Okay.
All right, we might have lost 2 listeners today, but you guys will be the winner.
Wait a minute.
All right, let's put an exclamation point on there on this. Mo, you want to explain what's been going on the last 2 hours for anybody checking us out this morning?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we had a Spades, somewhat of a Spades tournament in light of Black History Month, and Tommy went out and found some Spades champions. Kiana and Josh, married couple, 10 years been married, have never lost in Spades. They came in to challenge Katie and myself, who have not played together for quite some time, but the last time we did play together, we ended up winning a ring. So those championship rings that we had from our Spades history were on the line as we both went outside in the hallway and competed for the last few hours.
Now, I just want to make it clear that Tommy didn't go out there and randomly find 2 people. They signed up. They're like, hey, we've never lost before. We've been with each other for 10 years. Let's go, Mo. Let's go, Katie.
Right. I like their entry because, one, they just celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary. So happy
Congrats.
anniversary.
Yeah, it's the only win you're getting
on
today.
that anniversary trip, they were making people mad because they were taking down everybody in Spades. So I thought, here is the perfect couple to take down Mo and Katie.
All right, so they've been playing now for 2 hours. We said we would like this done by 10 o'clock. Apparently, it is done by 10 o'clock. Y'all can take it from here.
Well, the game has concluded, and while I definitely enjoyed myself, I think I speak for Katie when I say that as well. You guys came in very, very confident, undefeated, in fact, and started to look a little nervous after those first couple hands, and it turns out they should have been.
Okay.
Because we won.
The undefeated streak is over.
It's over.
It's over. What happened?
got to go.
What happened?
It's early. It's too early. It's supposed to be late.
Yeah.
We need a little drink.
Yeah. The humidity is kind of bad outside. Yeah, sure.
The AC was pumping in the hallway.
I didn't put any lotion on.
Right.
Get lotion. Yeah, you get ashiness.
You want a rematch now?
Anytime.
Wow.
No, that last hand
See,
said it all.
I'm not a fan of rematches, man. I want you to live with that loss.
Yeah. Y'all ain't even finished the game. Y'all threw the cards in before the
Listen,
game could be
was
officially over.
Game was over.
Y'all look
But I
like y'all just ready to
appreciate
get out of here.
I heard it getting heated out there, even through like the plexiglass. And this is supposed to be a soundproof room.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of joking going on. Then I saw him get up pointing at you. Like, what is that all about? Something's getting heated out there.
What happened, y'all?
I got a little bit confused. My eyes started zerbiting. I thought the Spades was the clubs, and the clubs was Spades.
Well, really, that was the practice round.
This was the practice round.
You know, after this, we'll be ready.
I told y'all, what did Eminem say? You get one shot, okay? one opportunity. That's it.
I appreciate you guys coming in
Thank
here
you.
very much.
Thank
You did not steal the rings today.
No,
Not today.
No, not today. We keep the rings, but it was a pleasure. I
was
enjoyed
fun.
playing, and I'm really sorry to do that to y'all on your anniversary. That is great.
I appreciate you guys listening very
Thank
much.
you.
Now, this is only going to make it worse for you guys now because now there's going to be so many people wanting to challenge you guys. You're you're never going to be able to go out in public again with each other without somebody challenging you.
I see my DMs blowing up already.
The Bert Show.